someone who was there January 6th talked about her experience, and mostly we had a long discussion on whether it should be Dr. Representative or Representative Doctor. Either way, Robin Kelly is here. Good morning, Representative Doctor, Dr. Representative.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. From the great state of Illinois, of course. Obviously, they were talking about accountability for January 6th. You had tweeted that you shared your January 6th story. You said, we're going to get to the bottom of what happened that day. We will hold those responsible accountable. Would you mind sharing what because I did not hear your January 6th story. Would you mind sharing?
No. I talked about last week, the day, January 6, 2021, when I came to the Capitol. Little did I know that shortly after, I would be on my hands and knees with other colleagues, staffers, reporters, cameramen, hoping that we all got out alive and in one piece. And thank God, that we did. We were there to watch the certification, and the next thing we know, we see leaders being rushed out. We were told to put on gas masks that we didn't even know were under the seats, and we might have to hide under the seats. We ran from the one side of the gallery to the other side. Somebody was thinking that, if we were on the Republican side, they would think we were Republicans. But, as a person later realized, there were like 7 or 8 CBC members. We had other people of color. They would know that all of us were not, Republicans. And so we either laid flat, laid on our hands and knees. Then we heard the gunshot, which paused everything, and that's what allowed the Capitol Police to come and get us. And we ran downstairs and through hallways to get to the undisclosed location. So, we formed something called the Gallery Group, and we were the last people that, that got out. And so we, for a year, have really embraced each other, supported each other. There have been sessions with counselors, for group counseling for some, and for some, this really brought up other things. So we didn't realize how serious it was until we actually saw the news, because we were on the inside. But one, good piece of news that we prevailed, and the election was certified, so democracy did win at the end.
Yeah, and Representative, it strikes me, I know Chairman Schiff and others have talked about, Chairman Schiff said one of his Republican colleagues said to him, you've got to, come over here or get on this side. Like, they'll recognize you. I can talk to these people, but they're going to recognize you. Have to, the reports, the Democrats went to the Republican side because they thought they'd be less likely to be shot. And, and yet you tweet today, one of the most frustrating disappointments this past year has been watching Republicans who privately admit the danger of Donald Trump and his followers and refuse to speak up publicly. Not just that, the 180 they've done from a year ago, from all being in danger with you and knowing the danger of Trump and his supporters.
So disappointing.
Yeah.
And, there was one Republican I spoke to, and I said, how do you feel? It was Inauguration Day. And he says, so relieved, that Donald Trump wasn't the president anymore. And you're right, that's the thing that is so frustrating, that you don't speak up. But, there's history of bad things happening and good people not speaking up, and bad things continue to happen, so it is very frustrating. It's very disappointing the way some people vote, and they know that it's not, like, to not vote for the infrastructure bill, to not vote to certify President Biden. I mean, that's just simply ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and you obviously talked about voting for the John Lewis voting rights bill. The fact that we have 400 bills that are based on this big lie, that obviously started this, whatever we want to call it, insurrection a year ago. You said throughout the past year, lawmakers around the country have introduced more than 400 bills that would restrict the right to vote in 18 states.
Right.
Anti-voter bills have already been signed into law. The John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act will protect American voters regardless of which state they call home. How are you feeling about this morning? I mean, today may be the day in the Senate, and we've heard a lot of talk, and, Joe Manchin's latest whatever movement or not on changing rules or carving out something for voting rights. How are you feeling today about this?
Well, the interesting part is the Freedom to Vote Act, which is the vote in the Senate, is Joe Manchin and Amy Klobuchar's bill.
Yes.
So, and it expands automatic voter registration, same-day registration, strengthening vote by mail, early voting, establishing Election Day as a national holiday, on and on and on. So, unless if we don't get, what is he going to vote against his own bill? We're
Yeah.
trying to change the ruling. So, like for the budget for voting rights, you don't need 60 senators. So, if he doesn't vote for that, then he's actually torpedoing his own bill. I don't understand him or, frankly, my former colleague in the House, Cinema. I just don't get it. You're taking the right to vote away from so many people, or the ease of voting. Why are we making it so hard? We're supposed to be the greatest democracy in the world, and yet we're making voting so terribly difficult.
Right.
Yeah. What was your reaction to the president's speech? I certainly heard a lot of, even former head of the NAACP that said he thought he hit it out of the park. What was your reaction?
I thought he did a great job. Some people have said, well, he said he was going to, have unity, and then he does this. But he's tried and tried and tried. And you only can have unity if the other people will meet you not even halfway, meet them a quarter of the way, and they just have not done that. It's just been resist, 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 because they smell blood in the water for November 2022. So they do not, want to cooperate. But I feel like he did a good job, and, now we have to, put as much pressure as we can on folks to vote. And, the thing is, he's not a legislator, so hopefully he can use the power of his office to change a few minds. And even, when I think about some of the Republicans like Susan Collins and Mitt Romney,
Yeah.
and supposedly more of the moderates, why aren't they voting for it?
Yep.
I mean, we're giving them a break.
Yeah.
We should be on Manchin and Sinema, but we should be on them also.
Yeah, 16 of them voted for it in the past, right? As recently as under George W. Bush. Why isn't anyone asking them, why are you against voting rights now when we really need it, right?
I know. But that's what you guys got to do. You got to stay on.
That's right. It's up to me.